Your eyes are not playing tricks on you. This is Tink's sister, Millie, and she's come to live with us. Tink and Millie were litter mates, and when we adopted Tink at the shelter, we learned that Millie was going to another family. Well, Melissa kept in touch with those folks, and they had some stuff come up recently and couldn't keep her. So they offered her to us before bringing her back to the shelter, and of course we said yes. So yeah, it's kind of like having two Tinks around now, more or less. Only the other one is Millie, and she's a bit fluffier. So this is the order of things. Steve came over to work on the bus. So I lined up a few Steve-like projects that we could do together. You've met Steve before. He's the dude back in the day who came over and helped tear out that old prison bus toilet. And this is Steve using a pickaxe to tear at the bus. The thing you gotta know about Steve is that he's a perfectionist and he makes meticulous, perfect art and sculptures of all kinds. So I think when he comes over to work on the prison bus, it's kind of a chance to engage with the dark side of fabrication. You know, staring into the nasty, tumultuous chaos that the bus represents.
Oh, that one's okay on it. Sorry.
Yeah, they just kind of came out different. Does this count as a jig, do you think?
It's a little bit.
I steered Steve toward tuning up my aluminum sconce lights. The next thing I knew, he was banging on them with a rubber mallet and having a good old time. People need to bang on things once in a while. It's just healthy. We squared up the lights, installed the guts of each one, and got them ready to be installed on the bus. But note that this footage was all shot before Millie arrived. These days, Tink is much less fascinated by humankind and really into Millie. Those are easy outs. Here, it's gonna be. What size do you think it's gonna be?
7/16. We can change the angle.
Yeah, don't go too tight so we can just move it. Well.
No, I think this needs to be tight.
Okay. Now, back in the bus, we weren't going to install the lights just yet, as the ceiling still needed to be painted. But Steve and I located each one, pre-cut some jacketed wire, and screwed brackets into the walls where the lights will go after the paint job. We also pulled the sliding barn door. Now, I was kind of thinking that this was to clear way for the painting, or at least I was telling myself that. But I gotta say, the sliding barn door may not return to the bus. It takes up a few too many inches for my liking in the hallway space, and it's kind of a little bit rattly for prison bus escapades. I think I might be able to come up with something cleaner and simpler, but we'll see. Alright, so paint prep. Since the build is pretty far along, I couldn't see a way around using tons of plastic and tape for the paint job. Yeah, I should have painted the ceiling a long time ago. I know that, but I didn't. But I will show you my painting getup. It's prescription swim goggles, which are anti-fog and keep 100% of the paint out of your eyes. I totally love those things. And then a breathing filter thing and a hat, and I'm off to spray. Now, spraying the ceiling of the bus definitely sucked. I should have done it sooner, but whatever, I'm glad it's done. Alright, the ceiling of the bus is finally painted, and I'm gonna go in there and pull off the plastic. Oh my gosh. I think it looks pretty good in here, all painted up. You know, it's not perfect. Prison bus style has a little bit of grit to it, but all those holes and covered up patches and stuff really cleaned up with a coat of paint. With the ceiling painted and the paint dry after a few days, I got to installing those lights. There are 3 of them in all, and they run off the 110 AC switch up by the front door. I grounded the body of each light and wired them in series using that jacketed wire. For me, these lights are all about old parts of the bus living on in new ways. The light bodies are bolted to their brackets so the lights can be taken on and off if need be. I thought about using rivets to attach them, which might have looked cleaner, but bolts are nice because they're easier to remove. Alright, so I'm putting these lights up, as you know, and I'm at the third one, and I realized that I need to access this little box here. This box holds the actuator that opens and closes the door. Anyway, I'm looking in here and thinking of a place to put some wiring, and I look over here and you know there's like some junk and whatnot, and there is a can of chew tobacco and an old set of handcuffs. Man, the history of this prison bus will just never die. Rusty old handcuffs. I'll have to find a place to put these on the bus. Alright, so that's the light. It seems to be working pretty well. I don't have bulbs for the other two. This is an E12, a kind of unusual bulb size, and I had to order a few more. But at least the lights are all dialed in. Next, I turn to the relatively easy job of wiring up an LED 12-volt strip light running up the other side of the bus. This one goes in a rail I installed a while back on the side. The rail is actually an old garage door hanger that seemed to me to be a good shape to bounce the LED light upward onto the ceiling of the bus. Alright, so with the LEDs lighting up in my strip over here on the side, these are my 12-volt LEDs. I just need to take the adhesive off the back of that strip and glue the lights down inside the rail. Alright, so with those LEDs set up on this side of the bus, I guess I've just got to admit that there's just a ton of redundancy built into the lighting system in the bus. What I mean by that is that you've got the LEDs over here and also in the back by the bed, and those run off the converter that converts the alternating current shore power to direct current, and also run off the leisure battery. So there's two ways that those guys are powered. Then you've got your 110 regular lights over here. So when the bus is plugged into shore power, I've got lights along the side here, I've got lights in the back, etc. Just regular lights like you'd have in a house. And then one more system, all of these lights, and I hardly ever fire these up on the camera, but I think you can see them. There are 14 of these lights all throughout the bus. These are the bus lights, the original lights for flipping on the cab lights, and they're switched to the keys. So when the key's on, these guys draw from the starter battery, like the actual battery for the bus, and they light up the cab pretty well. They're not LEDs, they're the older bulbs, but I could switch out to LED bulbs and save some power with those guys. Anyway, 3 sets of lights, 3 different power sources on the prison bus. Okay, before I wrap things up and figure out what to do with those old rusty handcuffs, a couple of shout outs to some kids of friends who've taken an interest in this series. I want to give all my encouragement to my old friend Amy's daughter Freya, who's becoming a tiny house guru, and I'm just loving hearing stories about her. Freya, way to go. And a shout out to Alec Romero, thanks for checking out the videos, man. And then to Matt and Janae's son, I hear your drawings are great, my friend. And then big thanks, of course, to Steve for helping out with the lights. Steve, you're awesome. You always make things better. That's it. Check out my Instagram feed if you're interested. I go by Meta Spencer just about everywhere online. And like a lot of YouTubers, I have my hat out over on Patreon, where I also write a bit about my projects. See y'all in the next build video, where I swear to God this bus is going to get a bit closer to getting done.